Just
What's the group name?
1 second.
Which does it mean what I think it means?
Mine. You think it does?
Yeah, we're streaming, and yeah, question like on that group allocation page, your usernames are NTNU usernames, yes, right? Yeah, just to make sure. Okay, yeah, feel free to start. We are streaming.
So we kind of decided to go for more of an engine approach type of deal. Not sure if that was the best thing to do in retrospect, as things ended up being quite chaotic. Our code is not very stable or good. So just a heads up, some of the features might or might not crash the entire program during the demo. Anyways, so one of the first things we did was kind of implement a way of loading a model. So you can just load it in real time in. And the reason it has the same texture as the nanosuit is because it doesn't have any textures to come with it. And I'm not sure why it exactly loaded the nanosuit texture, because last time I checked it should have loaded an error texture, but something, it doesn't always work.
So did you implement your own model loader?
No, it's async.
Okay.
Yeah. And here we have then a very simple scene graph, and you can move the objects around every axis and rotate it, scale it, and then if you want to add a child, you can just do like this, and now this is a child. The funny thing is that it teleported back to the current position now, which it shouldn't have done. That is one of the things we really couldn't figure out why this was all happening. We think it's just that we didn't plan enough, and therefore the outcome isn't always as we expected. We should probably have done more in the planning phase instead of just going ahead and start coding, so that we actually knew what we were doing somewhat. If you move the child, it also moves the parent, and the parent also moves the child, so it seems like the transforms are kind of interconnected in some way. We also have the ability to actually add point lights directly into the scene. So if I turn on this, maybe you can see it better here. You can up to 99 lights, which I feel is a lot, but our lighting isn't very advanced. You can also move the lights around, of course. And then quickly we also have a way to change shaders in real time here. Okay, it worked this time, very nice. And just a shade effect. There is a directional light, which is always present in scene. You can't add more directional lights. You can change the color of it, the angle of the rays. And you can change, you can customize a lot there. That was kind of like the thing we wanted.
Yeah, you said earlier that the child objects would also move the parent object.
Yeah.
Is that by design?
No.
Okay.
That is not by design. That is computation of a messy code.
Yeah. Okay.
So I worked on moving around objects in the scene graph, and it does not work the way we want it to or expect it to in some cases. I think I can showcase it with deleting the lizard, which should break the normal lizard. If you see it's in the top left now.
Also, if you see the transform of the normal lizard, you can see something probably happened with the memory, which, you know.
So I've basically done the deconstructor wrong. I've looked at it, tried to fix it, and I'm not sure what I've done wrong.
To be honest, I think it's more how we do this in
Yes. You can also be able to copy the models and paste them around, and well, then it crashed. So that didn't work today. Nice.
Yeah,
So I
that's a
get-
null pointer.
Yeah.
I think what happened was
That's why you don't use raw pointers, guys. References or unique pointers.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
plans of changing our unique pointers, but then it was like
Mess.
Yeah, it was a mess. So
I got stuck in too deep that I didn't even know what I was doing anymore. It's like, okay, this is past my experience. Let me try. If it crashes again, I'm just gonna give up. Yeah, it works. So then there's the new object. But the problem with this is that it, for some reason, has the same transforms as the object I copied, even though I made a new one. There's also cut, but that doesn't work at all. Since last time I did, I got a delete exception, so I just removed most of the code, so it doesn't do anything I want. For that, that's most of the things about the moving object around, and if you try to paste it more, it should probably crash sometimes.
yeah, solid piece of open code.
I also tried working on shadows at some point, but everything it touched, including the lights, broke. So I removed that. Other than that, I made a camera, which works decently enough. I guess you can showcase the code now.
Do we really want to show this? Okay. So as Nils already pointed out, we use raw pointer, which was a real big mistake. I'm not sure why we decided to use it. I think it was just bad planning. We didn't think about it when we did it.
I really like your honesty.
Well, I mean, if we stay here and lie, like, you know,
It's gonna be obvious.
we're bad liars.
That's good.
Yeah, the main code I don't think is very.
Do you guys use GLTF files for models?
We can use everything, I think.
We use everything that has syntax.
Yeah, okay.
And it like dynamically loads everything. So that will give it a path. In the start, we just add a directional line using this spread right here, and then we just set the regular model transform to 0 or like 0 vector, so that we don't get it at random locations around the scene. This is how we load new models. We just initialize a new render, then a new model, and then we send the render to the model, which is kind of backwards. Again, bad planning on our part. Then we actually, set the shader and stuff, which I kind of think is a bit neat at least. And this is the code for when you add a new child to it, it gets selected.
Did you try to model the code somewhat after Unity?
Yes.
Kinda, but it didn't quite work out.
I just see that you're sharing a lot of the same terms as
Yeah,
Unity
well, I
uses.
come from a Unity background, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like easier for me to
Yeah.
reference to that. And here, this is how we actually render the game object. It's just a loop, not the most best of things, but you know, we send in the camera, so we know the camera position, and all the lights, so it knows where the lights are. Here's the UI, which I think is the biggest bulk of the code. Since you saw we have a lot of UI elements. Here we use a static car for car array for giving in the actual names and stuff for the objects we want to load. The reason we use car arrays is because in GUI didn't allow us to use strings, even though I prefer strings. But
Your
each to their own.
string has a .c string method you can use.
I don't enjoy that either.
Yes, like we do use string, C-string stuff
Yeah, we
some places.
use it some places, but right here, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I tried it, but if I remember correctly, I did, and it didn't like it. But I might actually have forgotten to try it. Thanks for pointing it out. Yeah, to change the shader, we just check if the object is. Now we go through all the objects, and then we just set a new shader. The shader is set up kind of like weirdly. Again, you have to make a folder, which then you that's the name you give in the program. Like test was the other shader we had, and you have to use like fragment.frag, shadow.frag, shadow.word, text.word, and you also have to like call the same uniforms as we have set in the actual render method, or else you end up with like 15 frames per second because you can't find it. And he tries to find every frame. Here's the scene graph. So here we just use the GUI like tree nodes with some node flags, so that you can open when you click the arrow and open when you double click. And then we just check if it's open. Like MGUI is pretty like it does a lot of stuff for you, which I think is nice, and it's very easy to write GUI for it. Just check if it's clicked, and then I set the selector to true, and this means that this is the node that has been clicked.
So could you explain kind of a bit more what is your hierarchy in the scene graphs?
What you mean?
You used scene graphs, right?
Yeah.
So what is the child node? What is a parent node?
Well, it's the object, because the game object itself stores its own children. So I'm not sure if that's a very efficient way of doing it.
So do you have different kinds of components, or are game objects the only components you have?
Or no, you
Well,
can
I
add
have nodes on it.
components to the game objects.
So you can add components to the game objects?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So like the game object is an object, and then the components are like the attributes, like things it can do, like render. The mesh render is one component, so that it actually can render. I guess you could add collision as a component, and
Do you have like a component system implemented?
A simple one.
I'm not sure if it even works, but
Okay.
it's there. We didn't really test it that much, except for actually adding the mesh render to it, so it can render.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that satisfies your question.
Yeah.
Okay.
How are transforms stored? Are they per game object?
Per
or?
game object.
Yeah, okay. So every game object has their own transform.
Yeah. Isn't that how you're supposed to do this?
No, it's completely fine.
Yeah, okay.
There are other approaches, but one transform per game object is normal.
Yeah, I thought so. That's why I did it. But, I kind of knew that it's if you have any recommendations, please just
I could hold a presentation on it, to be
Yes.
honest. I've
Please.
thought about it a lot.
So the UI for here is all the copy and paste cut and delete stuff, so it just checks if something is selected and it does the corresponding functions. So here is the paste one, and it goes from it's like a clipboard vector that we have in the main, and you sense it in again. not to just warns that it's empty, because that's not a good thing to do. Delete is just simple delete game orders and those erase, which I think is why it doesn't work properly. Copy just pushes back things that we take forward from inside models. And the cut doesn't do anything much at the moment. It's basically like glorified copy due to some changes. And here's the new transforms.
Okay, here's the real mess. So here I just set the statics for everything that IMG needs, but you have to remember to set the scale to 1, or else when it initializes, the scale is 0, so the object is really small. And here I just set the actual IMG stuff to be the model's transform, so when you click it again, it doesn't take another transform's actual properties, which is a bad idea. I spent some time actually figuring out why that happened, and I just came up with this very simple solution to it. And here is just IMG's input system. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's very simple. 3 decimals. And then you again set them again so that knows. And then you actually update the transform of the game object. And this is our lighting panel. The reason why I say please give my name here is because in GUI, as last time I checked, they use like the actual name as the ID. I'm not a big fan of that, since I usually, when I want to test things quickly, I just give it the same name, but then all of a sudden, I have a lot of items with the same name. I click a button and then it's, I change all the objects at the same time and it crashes. And then here's just a button. IMG is very nice, and just let you add a button like this and it checks if it's nice. And then I just add a new point light, and then I send the point light to the vector of point lights. Here's the directional light, which is already set from the beginning. Each of them is a node, so you can collapse them as well. So here I just set the color and let IMG do the stuff. Now here I actually set. Here I actually oh yeah, there we use C-string. And that was the code for main. Do you want to continue?
Do you enjoy working with the IMG?
Yeah.
It was quite easy. It was like, don't need to think about how to redo at all. Just simple.
Yeah, the documentation was quite easy, and it lets you do things much more quicker. So doing a prototype with it is perfect. Like quickly look at game objects and things like this. I was curious about them. They're pretty shit. So yeah.
Is there a particular reason you used OpenGL 4.3?
No.
Okay.
There's no reason. That's the one we have.
So what's the thing you learned when doing that?
More planning.
Yeah, more planning is like
Yeah?
yeah.
How would that look like? What do you mean? Give me an example.
For example, we talked about game objects and the raw pointer practicing. Maybe you should look for like how is the best thing to do a hierarchy with game objects and be able to move them around. You search for that in the beginning instead of okay, let's do it.
Yeah, like more research, like figuring out like how you actually should, what is kind of the best practice way of doing something instead of just going ahead first and say, I can just do this,
Yeah.
which is not always a good idea.
So, sensible feedback on you. The question is, do you see yourself yet to modify your framework into a framework?
Yes.
Yeah?
We have learned like a lot, like because when stuff started to fall down, we actually started to read on stuff, but it was kind of too late.
Yeah.
It was like in the middle of Easter when stuff actually started to like collapse on itself, which isn't the best timing,
No.
if I'm honest.
Because of Easter or what? No, anyway.
No, it was just we worked during Easter and then
Yeah.
it started to
I understand. But I'm more looking at the exam right now, right? Of course.
Yeah.
So the important thing is that you still have a generalizable tool that you can use, right? So that you can build on. So especially since you're admitting that there's a lot of issues and a lot of things that fall over, it may probably be a good investment to weed some of those out before.
So like after we're finished what we're currently working on mobile, we're gonna spend the next few days just cleaning up the mess.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Yes. Were you both equally involved in this project?
Yeah,
Basically.
Basically, right? So different focus, but roughly at same point. Yeah. So because sometimes also the question group size can make a difference, right? So you were only 2 people working on it, right? So that's actually quite a bit more load than some other groups had. You need to bear that in mind as well. So it's quite ambitious then as well to pull something, pull off something as comprehensive as you had in mind, right? So it may well have been that it's slightly over scope. But one of the suggestions, well, the impression at least from the talk that I got is that you wanted to put in all features at once, kind of thing, right? So, of course you ended it incrementally, but you didn't thoroughly think through how they interact, how they interrelate. But okay, like yet another bell and whistle and see how it goes, and then suddenly that whole perhaps the lack of engineering comes back to you in a way, right? So
like we managed to add most of the functionality we want, like the model loading, lighting, etc. And that just worked fine. But when we want to add like the, I guess, engine features like moving hierarchy around, it just broke apart.
we also kind of wanted the lights to actually be game objects, but then when I tried to do it, it really collapsed. Then nothing really worked for me.
any intuitions as to why?
I guess it's
Bad code.
Yeah.
Are your point lights components or how do they work?
They're just structs that we send to the game
Yeah,
objects.
okay.
In terms of scalability, do you think this can be extended to the framework where you load the entire scene and play with lighting and shaders there instead of just a single object?
You could load them. Like if you have an entire scene, I guess we could do something with it, but right now, like the hierarchy stuff doesn't take into account an entire scene if you load it with GLTF, right? You can load entire scenes, but it doesn't take each individual component for an object, right? It just takes it as one thing.
Yeah, then you will need to redefine the hierarchy too.
Yeah, kind of. But I don't I thought about it, but I didn't want to implement it as when I started thinking about it, things were already starting to crumble. I have some plans on how to do it, but I'm not sure if it's the best way. So I need to do some more reading and check how I will do it.
Do you do any occlusion culling among the lizard and the child and these kind of different objects?
Questions? Anyone? Comments? Did you want something?
It was cool to see more use of English. That's example.
That's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, kudos for info use. That's good. I think that's probably one thing we were clear about from the beginning. It's probably quite sensible to have that within Go to some extent, right? So yeah. So I mean, anytime you deal with configurations, ad hocness, you mentioned prototyping in particular. I think it's one of the tools to know if you work in that space, right? Because it makes things so relatively easy, let alone polishing and all that aesthetics aspect, but just to get some sort of menu system going and have a lot of features out of the box without hacking around or make it unintuitive. So I think that everyone is well advised to think to look at Inuit and be comfortable with using it. So that's good that you emphasize it again. Yeah. Good. Well, you mentioned already what you would do if you would do it again, and I think we should leave it at that. So thank you very much for your. So which group is left now? Yeah, please. I think everyone else can take a 10 minutes break or something in advance, right? So because it takes some time to set it up, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
Could you make the repo public?
Yeah, please make your repo public.
Maybe you don't have access to it.
Yeah.
Don't we? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Run on.
By the way, I made some slight changes to the code after I showed you last week.
Sure.
Added it here.
I mean, it applies to any of you that you can now actually start shaping your assignment towards making it usable for the exam anyway, right? So part of the intent was to have some sort of framework.
The horizontal regulator.
Prøve å skjønne det.
Of course, to some extent, you can ask people to do stuff for you, right? So, well, technically, you're supposed to do it alone, right? So, it's very unlikely that the colleagues will spend the time after you. So, you should do that. We expect it to low rates work on your own, but you don't have access to some resources, there's no event use on the internet, so if you want to make use of Stack Overflow, be my guest, but with the...
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm more like that.
Yeah, sure. You can do that. But be aware of risks there as well.
Yeah.
So, I think maybe you won't open the algorithms.
Yeah, it's like really deprecated GL.
Jeg hadde 5 kroner for mange kroner. Git reset har så hadde jeg hatt sånn 20 kroner igjen.
Det betyr at du kunne ha enda startet med 20 kroner eller antall kroner. Til det, at du hadde også startet med alt for 20 kroner avhengig av hvor mange du skrev. Så det er en veldig fleksibel steg.
Det er en ganske fleksibel steg.
Så hvis du har 40 kroner utgangspunkt, så er det en veldig valid steg hvis du bare gjort det. Nå vet jeg at du har alt over 20 kroner i banken.
Shit!
I know so much of this.
Stemmer det må. Lage en tredimensjonal binary som står i data. NFC tags. De suger. Har du sånn noen som har gjort NFC tag? NFC tag. Det finnes en sånn tag-ting for Android. Det er bare sånn, gir deg bare informasjon om hva som heter kortet. Det hjelper ikke som faen spesifisk står i data til kortet.
Hvis du får lest det, så må du få lagret plass.
Så skal du få noe håp til, men faen. Og det er jammen ikke enkelt å få det som uviet database i alle fall.
Da burde vi ikke
Consistent storage. Det beste vi kan gjøre alt en tredimensjonal byte array. Putte det inn i databasen som en string. Jeg want to know.
Hva hvis du lager den som en langt string? Så funker det.
Ja, det er akkurat det vi må gjøre. Så må jeg gjøre om til en tredimensjonal byte array etter få igjen.
Alright, ja.
Jeg var snakken med meg åpne til dem hvis jeg tar det. To be honest.
Det er ikke så klart å kjøre liksom det er svært for manual. Det var liksom ryddighet frem til vi liksom fant ut en dag. Når vi ikke setter din gud inn, så var det egentlig vise det.
But when they die, they can be resurrected. If the soul belongs to somebody else. And in this case, it's the heart, so they actually live on the north pole. So the soul will go to hell, where you're basically being stuck in processing until the devil claims the soul. That's in process. Stuck in a long line. Yeah, basically. Or at least still treat yourself as a half shadow.
Ikke så mye. Vi joina basically det var litt som du begynte med 2 albumer. Ja. Da ble det mest av det da kurset, så var det fri av sånt før. Ja, vi har en skole på alle andre. Jeg var opptatt i
And 1976 is all of that.